I walked past him every morning for 6 months. Same spot, same cardboard sign that read God bless, same weathered face that never met my eyes. Alex Stewart was my name, 34 years old, senior accountant at Hartwell & Associates in downtown Atlanta. That homeless man outside our building became part of the scenery, like the broken streetlight on Peachtree or the coffee cart that never had cream. My colleagues joked about him. "Your buddy's here again," said Trevor from marketing, smirking as we entered the glass doors. I'd nod, feel a twinge of guilt, then forget him entirely once the elevator doors closed. My wife Catherine always said I was too focused on work, too disconnected from the world around me. "You walk through life with blinders on, Alec," she'd say, kissing my forehead before her morning run. She was right, of course. Catherine was always right. 10 years of marriage had taught me that much. She was a physical therapist at Emory, beautiful, successful, the kind of woman who made other men stare and wonder how I'd gotten so lucky. Our brick colonial in Decatur was everything we'd dreamed of: white picket fence, 2-car garage, plans for kids next year. But that Tuesday morning in September, everything changed. The homeless man stood up as I approached. Actually stood. In 6 months, I'd never seen him move. His sign fell to the pavement, and he held out a manila folder with hands that trembled. "Mr. Stewart," he said, his voice surprisingly clear, educated even. "I need 5 minutes of your time. Just 5 minutes. It's about your wife." My heart stopped. The folder had Catherine Stewart written across it in black marker. I should have walked away. That's what any reasonable person would have done. Instead, I stood frozen on the sidewalk while morning commuters flowed around us like water around stones. The homeless man, I still didn't know his name, held that folder steady, his dark eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made my skin crawl. "Who are you?" I managed, my voice barely above a whisper. "How do you know my wife's name?" "My name is Cedric Clark. I'm a private investigator. Was a private investigator." He glanced down at his stained jacket and torn jeans. Life took a turn. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters is what's in this folder. This is insane. I stepped back, pulling out my phone. "I'm calling the police." "Your wife leaves for her morning run at 6:15 every Tuesday and Thursday," Cedric said quickly. "She wears the blue Nike headband on Tuesdays, the black one on Thursdays. She stops at Java Junction on Clemont, orders a large vanilla latte with oat milk, no foam. She sits at the window seat for exactly 45 minutes. My thumb froze over the screen. Those details, they were too specific, too accurate. Catherine did have a routine. She was meticulous about her schedule, said it helped her stay grounded between patients. "Who's watching my wife?" My voice came out harder than intended. What kind of sick game is this? Cedric's expression softened with something like pity. "Open the folder, Mr. Stewart. Page 1 is from 6 months ago. Last page is from yesterday morning. I've been documenting everything because someone needed to know the truth, and her husband deserved to see it with his own eyes." I took the folder. My hands shook as I opened it. The first page was a photograph. High resolution, clearly taken with professional equipment. Catherine sat in that window seat at Java Junction, smiling at someone across from her. A man. Tall, athletic build, wearing scrubs. His hand covered hers on the table. "That's Dr. Antoine Odom," Cedric said quietly. "Orthopedic surgeon. Works at Emory, same floor as your wife. Photos dated March 15th. 6 months ago." I flipped to the next page. Another photo. Catherine and Antoine leaving a restaurant I didn't recognize. His arm around her waist. Date stamp, March 22nd. Page 3, them entering a Marriott on Peachtree. April 3rd. 2:30 in the afternoon. I remembered that day. Catherine said she had a staff meeting that ran late. Stop. The word came out strangled. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because someone hired me to follow your wife 8 months ago," Cedric said. "Paid me $15,000 upfront, another 15 upon completion. But halfway through the job, my client disappeared. Stopped answering calls. I finished the investigation anyway because... He paused, jaw tightening. Because I've been where you are, Mr. Stewart. My wife did the same thing. Except nobody warned me. I found out when I came home early and caught them in our bed. The morning crowd had thinned. We stood alone on the sidewalk now, me holding evidence of my wife's betrayal, him offering the truth I'd been too blind to see. There's more, Cedric continued. Keep reading. It gets worse. I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to. But I turned to page 4. Page 4 was a bank statement. Not ours, at least, not one I recognized. An account at SunTrust in Catherine's name only, opened February 10th. Deposits every 2 weeks, exactly matching her paychecks from Emory. The current balance made my stomach drop, $83,000. She's been hiding money, I said, the words tasting like ash. For how long? 18 months, based on the statements I pulled. Cedric shifted his weight, and I noticed the pronounced limp in his right leg. Page 5 shows property records. She bought a condo in Buckhead. Cash purchase. $320,000. Her name only. Closed escrow in January. My vision blurred. We'd been saving for a vacation home in Hilton Head. Or so I thought. Every conversation about our finances, our future, our dreams, all of it built on lies. How did you get these documents? I flipped through more pages, credit card statements showing purchases at jewelry stores, high-end restaurants, weekend trips to Charleston and Savannah. None of it with me. I still have contacts from my previous life, Cedric said. People who owe me favors. Mr. Stewart, your wife has been planning her exit strategy for almost 2 years. The affair with Dr. Odom is just the surface. Look at page 23. I found it with shaking hands. A legal document. Divorce papers, already filled out, waiting for signatures. Filed by Catherine's attorney, Bernard Whitmore, the most expensive divorce lawyer in Atlanta. She's going to file on you, Cedric said. Probably within the month. She's been building a case. Page 26 has her journal entries. She's documented every argument, every time you worked late, every moment she can twist to make you look like the neglectful husband. Georgia's a no-fault state, but she wants full claim to your assets. The house, your retirement, everything. I couldn't breathe. The folder weighed 1,000 pounds in my hands, each page another nail in the coffin of my marriage. People passed by, probably wondering why a man in a Brooks Brothers suit was standing on the sidewalk with a homeless person, looking like his world had just collapsed. Because it had. Why? The question came out broken. Why would she do this? We were happy. We had plans. Were you happy, Mr. Stewart? Cedric's question cut through my denial like a scalpel. Or were you comfortable? Did you really know your wife, or did you know the version she showed you? I thought about our last conversation that morning. Catherine making coffee, chatting about her day, kissing me goodbye. I love you, Alec. Have a good day. The same routine we'd had for years. Comfortable, safe, predictable, and completely fake. Page 47, Cedric said. Text messages between Catherine and Dr. Odom. You need to read those. I found the page. Screenshots of conversations that made my blood run cold. Catherine, Alec asked about Hilton Head again. I smiled and said we'd go next summer. God, I'm such a good actress. Antoine, just a few more months, baby. Then you'll be free and we can stop hiding. Catherine, I know. It's just exhausting pretending to love him. He's so clueless. Comes home, talks about work, thinks everything's fine. Antoine, you deserve better. You deserve me. Once the divorce is final, we'll take that trip to Bali. Use his money to fund our future. My hands crumpled the paper. 10 years. 10 years of my life, and she thought I was clueless. She'd been laughing at me, pitying me, using me. I know what you're feeling, Cedric said, and something in his voice made me look up. The morning sun caught his face differently, and I saw the man he used to be, clean-cut, professional, someone who'd once commanded respect. That rage building in your chest. That humiliation. The thoughts running through your head about confronting her, screaming, demanding answers. Damn right I'm going to confront her. I checked my watch. 7:45. Catherine would still be at Java Junction with Antoine, drinking her vanilla latte, planning my destruction. I'm going there right now. Don't. Cedric grabbed my arm with surprising strength. Mr. Stewart, listen to me. I confronted my wife. Caused a scene. Broke down crying in front of her and the man she was sleeping with. You know what happened? She used it against me in court. Called me volatile, unstable, emotionally abusive. I lost everything. My house, my kids, my career. The judge gave her full custody because her lawyer painted me as dangerous. I jerked away. So what am I supposed to do? Just let her get away with it? No. You get smart. You get strategic. Cedric pulled another folder from inside his jacket. This is my gift to you, Mr. Stewart. Everything you need to protect yourself. Copies of all evidence, contact information for my attorney, his affordable and ruthless, and a step-by-step plan for filing first. In Georgia, whoever files first has the advantage. You need to beat her to the courthouse. I don't understand. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. Cedric's eyes grew distant. 3 years ago, I was you. Successful PI, beautiful wife, 2 daughters I loved more than life. Then I discovered the affair. Lost control. Lost everything. Cedric's story spilled out like confession, and I couldn't walk away. We sat on the bench outside my building, that second folder between us like a lifeline I was afraid to grab. Her name was Denise, Cedric said, staring at the morning traffic. Married 14 years. She was an ER nurse, worked nights. Or so she said. Turned out she was working nights, just not at the hospital. Found out she'd been sleeping with her supervisor for 2 years. What happened? I followed her one night. Watched them in a hotel room through a window. Something in me broke. I kicked down the door, started swinging. Put the guy in the hospital. Denise called the cops, pressed charges. I got arrested, spent 6 months in county. Lost my PI license, my business, my house. Denise got full custody, moved to Charlotte with the girls. I haven't seen my daughters in 3 years. The pain in his voice was raw, fresh despite the years. I live out here now. Can't afford rent. Can't get work without my license. But I still have my camera, my skills. And when I saw you walking past every day, happy, oblivious, just like I used to be, I couldn't let it happen to you too. You've been investigating my wife for free? For 6 months. I've been investigating her for 8 months. The original client, the one who hired me, that was her sister, Chantal. She suspected something was wrong, wanted proof. But then Chantal got scared. Said Catherine would never forgive her for interfering. Stopped returning my calls. But I kept going because he met my eyes. Because someone should have done it for me. Someone should have cared enough to warn me before I destroyed my life. The weight of his sacrifice settled over me. This man, living on the streets, had spent months trying to save a stranger. I can't just file for divorce without talking to her, I said, even as my conviction wavered. 10 years, Cedric. We built a life together. Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe. Page 62, Cedric interrupted. Read it. I found the page. Another text conversation, this one from last week. Antoine, are you sure he doesn't suspect anything? Catherine, Alec? Please. He's too wrapped up in his spreadsheets to notice anything. I could probably bring you home and he'd just ask us to keep it down while he works. Antoine, when are you going to tell him? Catherine, not yet. I need him clueless until the papers are filed. My lawyer says sudden divorce filings get better settlements when the husband is caught off guard. No time to hide assets or prepare. We serve him at work, maximum embarrassment, shows the court I'm the wounded party. Antoine, you're brilliant. Ruthless, but brilliant. Catherine, I learned from the best. My mother took my father for everything. I'm just following the playbook. My hands trembled. The woman I married, the woman who kissed me goodbye this morning, was planning to humiliate me publicly, destroy me financially, and laugh about it with her lover. There's your explanation, Cedric said quietly. She doesn't love you. Maybe she never did. You're a paycheck, a comfortable life, something to drain dry before moving on. I need to think. I stood, the folders heavy in my hands. I have work. I can't just. Mr. Stewart. Cedric stood too, wincing at the movement. Every day you wait is another day she gets stronger. She's already ahead of you. Don't let her win just because you want to believe in a marriage that died years ago. My phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. Morning baby. Don't forget we have dinner with the Sanchez's tonight. Love you. I stared at those words. Love you. 2 words she didn't mean, would never mean again. I called in sick to work for the first time in 5 years. Told my boss I had food poisoning, needed the day. Then I did something I'd never done before. I followed Cedric's instructions exactly. First stop, Bernard Wright, the attorney Cedric recommended. His office was in a strip mall in Stone Mountain, nothing like the glass towers where Catherine's lawyer worked. But when I laid out the evidence, Bernard's eyes lit up with predatory satisfaction. This is excellent work, he said, flipping through the pages. Bank statements, property records, documented affair, intent to defraud. Mr. Stewart, your wife made a critical mistake. She underestimated you. Can we file today? We can file in the next 2 hours. Bernard leaned forward. Georgia's a no-fault state, but adultery affects alimony. These text messages showing premeditation to maximize settlement? That shows bad faith. We can argue she should get nothing. Plus, that hidden property in Buckhead? That's marital assets fraud. We can force a sale and take your half. The speed of it all made my head spin. This morning I'd been a happily married man. Now I was sitting in a lawyer's office, planning my wife's financial destruction. What about her? I asked. When does she find out? We serve her at work tomorrow. Maximum impact, like she planned for you. But we do it better. We notify her employer of the affair with Dr. Odom simultaneously. Most hospitals have strict fraternization policies. She could lose her job. A small, dark part of me smiled. Do it. Bernard pulled out paperwork. I need you to sign here, here, and here. Then we're filing electronically. Catherine Stewart will be served tomorrow at 2 p.m. Welcome to the first day of your new life, Mr. Stewart. That evening, I sat across from Catherine at Ray's on the river, making small talk with Desmond and Adrienne Sanchez like my world wasn't burning down. Catherine looked beautiful in a red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. She laughed at Desmond's jokes, touched my hand affectionately, played the perfect wife. I watched her like I was seeing a stranger. Every smile was calculated. Every touch performative. The woman I'd loved for 10 years didn't exist. Maybe she never had. Alec has been working so hard lately, Catherine told Adrienne, her voice dripping with false pride. I barely see him anymore. But I know he's building our future. Such a dedicated husband. Adrienne smiled. You two are relationship goals. Seriously. 10 years and still so in love. We're very blessed, Catherine said, squeezing my hand. Her engagement ring caught the candlelight, the ring I'd saved 3 months' salary to buy. Alec is my rock. I don't know what I'd do without him. I knew exactly what she'd do. Move into her Buckhead condo, travel to Bali with Antoine, live off the settlement she planned to steal from me. But not anymore. Actually, Catherine and I have some news, I said suddenly, watching her eyes widen. We've been talking about taking a big trip. Really investing in our marriage. Maybe renewing our vows. Catherine's smile froze for just a second, but I caught it. The panic. The calculation. Then her mask slipped back into place. "Oh, Alec, that's so sweet, but we haven't really discussed." "I think it's a wonderful idea," I continued, my voice steady. 10 years together deserves celebration. Maybe we could do it next month. Make it special. "We should talk about this at home," Catherine said, her tone sharper now. "Figure out the details privately." I barely slept. Catherine left at 6:15 for her run, and I watched from the bedroom window as she drove toward Java Junction. Toward Antoine. Toward the last morning she'd spend as my wife without knowing her world was about to implode. At 7 a.m., I met Cedric outside my office building. He looked different, cleaned up, wearing a suit I'd bought him yesterday at Men's Warehouse. I'd also paid for a hotel room, a hot meal, and given him $5,000 cash. "You didn't have to do this," Cedric said, but his eyes were wet. "The money, the clothes, I just wanted to help you." "You saved my life," I said simply. "This is the least I can do." "Did you call your daughters?" "Last night. First time in 3 years. Chantal gave me their number." He smiled, genuine and bright. "My youngest. She remembered my voice. Said she missed me. We're meeting for lunch on Saturday." "That's good, Cedric. That's really good." We stood together, two men who'd been broken by unfaithful wives, both finding our way back to strength. At exactly 2 p.m., my phone rang. Bernard Wright. "It's done. Papers served at Emory. HR was notified of the affair. Dr. Odom is being called into a disciplinary hearing. Your wife tried calling you 7 times in the last 10 minutes. My phone lit up again. Catherine calling. I let it ring. "There's more," Bernard continued. "Catherine's lawyer, Whitmore, just called my office. He's furious. Apparently, Catherine had her papers ready to file tomorrow. You beat her by 24 hours. He's threatening sanctions, claiming we accessed privileged information." "We didn't," I said calmly. "Everything we have came from public records and legal surveillance." "Right." "Correct. He's bluffing. Mr. Stewart, you need to prepare yourself. Catherine's going to come at you hard. She's cornered, and cornered animals are dangerous." I hung up. My phone immediately rang again. "Catherine, 9th call." I went home at 6 p.m. Catherine's car was in the driveway, and I could see her pacing through the living room window. I'd spent the day at Cedric's hotel, preparing myself for this moment. When I opened the door, she launched herself at me. Not in anger, in tears. "Alec, oh God, Alec, there's been a terrible mistake." She grabbed my arms, mascara streaming down her face. "Someone filed divorce papers in your name. Someone's trying to destroy us. We need to call the police, get a lawyer, figure out who." "I filed them, Catherine." My voice was ice. "No mistake. No hacker. Me." She stepped back like I'd slapped her. "What? Why would you? We're happy, we're." "Don't." I held up my hand. "Don't lie to me anymore. I know about Antoine. I know about the bank account, the condo in Buckhead, your plans to serve me tomorrow. I know everything." Her face cycled through emotions, shock, fear, calculation, then settling on defiance. "You had someone following me? You invaded my privacy? That's illegal, Alec. My lawyer will destroy you for." Cedric Clark. Former private investigator. He had photos, bank statements, text messages. All obtained legally. All admissible in court. I pulled out my phone, showed her one of the screenshots. "Remember this one? Where you called me clueless? Where you and Antoine laughed about taking my money?" Catherine's face went pale. "Alec, I can explain. Antoine and we were just, it was a mistake, I never meant." 18 months of financial fraud isn't a mistake. 2 years of planning my destruction isn't a mistake. You made a choice, Catherine. Multiple choices. Now live with them. You can't do this. Her voice turned shrill. I gave you the best years of my life. I was a good wife. You were always working, always distracted. I was lonely. You were lonely, I repeated, letting the words hang between us. So you committed adultery, hid money, bought property in secret, and planned to humiliate me publicly while stealing everything I'd worked for. That's your defense. Catherine's tears dried up. The mask finally, completely fell away. You want to know the truth, Alec? Fine. I stopped loving you 3 years ago. You're boring. Predictable. Antoine makes me feel alive in ways you never could. And yes, I was going to take everything because I earned it. 10 years of pretending to be satisfied with your mediocre life? I deserve compensation. There it was. The real Catherine. Cold, calculating, cruel. You'll get nothing, I said calmly. Bernard already filed motions to freeze the SunTrust account and force sale of the Buckhead property. Your affair violates Georgia's alienation of affection laws. Antoine's facing disciplinary action at Emory. And I have documentation of every lie, every hidden asset, every text message showing premeditation to defraud. You wanted to play chess, Catherine. You just didn't realize I'd been learning from a grandmaster. She lunged at me then, nails out, screaming. I'd anticipated it, stepped aside. She stumbled, caught herself on the couch. When she looked up, her face was twisted with pure hatred. I'll destroy you in court. I'll tell everyone you were abusive, controlling, that I feared for my life. No, you won't. Because if you try, I'll release every text message, every photo, every piece of evidence to your family, your employer, and social media. Your mother's friends, your church group, everyone who thinks you're such a good person will know exactly who you really are. I walked to the door, suitcase already packed in my car. You have 30 days to vacate. The house is mine. You took yourself off the deed when you bought your condo. Congratulations, Catherine. You played yourself. 6 months later, I stood outside a new building in Midtown. Cedric Clark Investigations, the sign read. Inside, Cedric worked his first legitimate case in 4 years, using the $75,000 investment I'd given him to restart his business. My divorce was final. Catherine got nothing. No alimony, no settlement, just her Buckhead condo and crushing legal debt. Antoine lost his position at Emory. I sold the Decatur house, bought a loft downtown, started actually living. And every morning, I stopped for coffee, looked around, and saw the world clearly. No more blinders. No more comfortable lies. Just truth, hard won and precious.